A very, very warm good evening. This is Arunfoot Chaudhary. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arun Foot. It is August the 7th. It's a Thursday, and it's another Indian football discussion on my channel as we speak about the happenings within Indian football and those things which are right, which are wrong. And I thought I'd start a little earlier today. And I'm sorry, I wanted to start 10 minutes earlier at 9:30, but so many phone calls this afternoon. I was actually out, stuck in a jam as well. It's interesting, and we'll surely to come to talk about things. Let's see. Let's wait and see what happens. Good evening, Zoravar. What's your opinion regarding this AIFF meeting with FSDL? Kalyan Chaubey claimed that ISL will happen after Super Cup, but ISL franchises aren't convinced. The point is, if I look at the meeting, if I look at the way that the meeting was set up, if I look at the way that the idea behind the meeting was what to do, not to do, how to do, I think it's a success that sort of all came together today and decided to sit on the table and discuss. It's the first time in 35 months of the Kalyan Chaubey presidency that all have sat together. That's a positive, but I honestly don't know in what position Kalyan Chaubey is to say that the ISL will happen, that anything will actually happen, right? To me, that's the question today, because that the Super Cup will be sort of a second pre-season Duran Cup, so to say, a little later in the season, and then you do your season. I don't know why he's talking about, let's try and reduce your costs. The AIFF has nothing to do about the operational, organizational costs of the ISL. That's a reliance matter. So he was talking about things which are not in his control because it's in the control of the Supreme Court. And I'm getting views from certain people who are saying that Kalyan Chaubey wants to keep this Supreme Court case hanging as long as possible so that he stays on as long as possible, because if the new sports bill is implemented, for example, Kalyan Chaubey cannot stand for re-election. So these are some of the things, some of the facts which are there. Again, it seems to me also that the ISL teams are not speaking with one voice. Again, I've said this in the past. We've had this in the NFL. We've had this in the I-League. We even had it in the I-League last year when they were trying to get together. So these are some of the points, some of the issues which I see which are happening at this moment in time. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's good that they met. I think good that this meeting happened. But this meeting, I would have said normally, again, July, August, pre-season, this should have been happening every year. And this meeting couldn't bring a solution because the realities are different from what is said. And if I see the AIFF press release, let's see what happens. Also, Khalid isn't willing to sign a short-term contract. According to media, he's demanding a 3-year contract from national team. Zoravar, again, you're asking the question, just watch my short video. I answer all the questions of that. And yeah, it's a 2+1 that he wants. The AIFF is thinking rather till March, but we'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. So therefore, for me, again, to you, I've linked the video here on top. Have a look at it afterwards, after this live, where I speak about these topics here. What is the situation in regard to the contract between Khalid and the AIFF? And will be interesting to see what happens. What's your opinion regarding India versus Indonesia women's match yesterday? Zoravar, I didn't watch the game. I was trying to watch the game, and then it was blocked a few times, and then I was in meetings and I couldn't follow it really. A 0-0, normally not good enough, makes it very, very tough against Myanmar to make it. So we are under pressure against Turkmenistan. We have to get a win, and then let's see what happens. Hi, Blue. Looks like the AIFF meeting is fruitless as expected. Yes. You've summed it up. I think the reality is that if anyone expected something concrete from this meeting, given the status of the AIFF constitution case in the Supreme Court, it was never going to happen. India men's U17 AFC Asian Cup qualifiers draw got a good teams. Sort of good. I would say we got tough teams. Iran, Palestine, Chinese Taipei, Lebanon. At home in Gujarat, yes, that's the biggest advantage, but this is a tough group for the under-17s. Do you think Jaideep Basu is being a hypocrite now? He's also part of the mess. As I said, he and Shaji didn't utter a word. When they came out, suddenly they became messiahs. The age-old problem, and yeah. When you're inside, when he was outside before that, he used to criticize. When he was inside, everything was good. When he's outside, everything is bad, and that's the problem. Indian women's U17 got a good draw too. Tricky, sort of, as both of them are tricky, right? One bad result and it might be over. Good evening, Dark Knight. Kalyan was looking underconfident during the interview. I don't know, Dark Knight, if he was underconfident, overconfident. I don't know. I don't judge those things, right? You might get someone in a good moment or in a bad moment. So for me, that it doesn't really count. But for me, the main thing is the substance of the meeting, right? Not even the interviews. Let's see. So Kalyan Chob is doing what Praful Patel did: remain in power and loot as much money as possible. So however, this comment is so far away from the reality of things. Not much to add, right? I have a lot of respect for you for what you say, but Praful Patel, what? Remain in power? No. Praful Patel was, in my opinion, illegally removed. If you see that the way he was removed by the Supreme Court, by the government, by the people now in power. And did he loot? No. He kept the system running with Kushal and with Sunando. So sorry, you're so far away from the reality. I don't know. And again, people forget, look at the wealth that the guy has, right? I mean, he could buy the AIFF, I don't know, 100 times or something and spend the money on the budget. Hey, methamphetamine, I'm good. What's your take on Kalyan's words today that he will ensure a leak happens? Also, what does it mean that either I or some leak happen? I don't know what that means. Methamphetamine, I think he needed to say something, right? He needed to give a reassurance, though he's not in the position to give a reassurance. The idea of having a Super Cup before you're starting the league, I think, is good, right? But the sports bill hasn't been passed, right? So the monsoon session is coming to end. It looks likely that it will then pass on to the next session post the festive season. Does that mean that the Supreme Court verdict will now go then towards October, December? And some league, this some league thing is something which is easy to say. Who will put in the money at the moment, given the realities of Indian football? That would be my simple question to anybody and everybody. Anybody who wants to put in the money, I would have a huge respect, given the current scenario of Indian football. Yeah, and right. What did Praful Patel looted? He, along with his committee, tried to run the system. Exactly, Dark Knight. Chai Pakora meeting. SGT, it looks like it was rather a chai and biscuit meeting. But again, at least what I would say is good that they came face to face. AIFF proposing Super Cup in September, good intent, but is clueless and doesn't understand simple thing. The 8 ISL clubs opted out of Durand Cup. Will they play an individual tournament Super Cup? SB Sports Extremes. We have the situation at the moment. SC Goa preparing for the Champions League 2 qualifiers. have signed foreigners. Mohun Bagan, Supergiant have signed foreigners for the ACL2 group stage, playing Duran Cup. Northeast United, with all the government pressures, defending champions of the Duran Cup, have signed foreigners. And our good old friends at East Bengal have also done it. Right? So, I don't even know which I League team is actually on the road at the moment and doing things. Because we don't even know who is in the I League, who's theoretically Inter Kashi is promoted, right? But Inter Kashi hasn't been invited. So the message from the AIFF to FSDL has not gone out, right? Is there something brewing on that front? Who's relegated? Where is that discussion? Suddenly that totally has disappeared. I don't know, are they putting it under the carpet? So to talk about the Super Cup, not knowing what league, if any league, will take place in the 25-26 season, I don't know. You know? So can you tell, will ISL take place this year? Aman, no, I can't. I can't because nobody knows. It is depending on number of factors. Supreme Court verdict. Do we get elections? Does FIFA step in ban us? If elections happen, the people who come in, are they in a position to talk to Reliance about a potential new MRA? If there is no MRA, then, so therefore that's it. So Kalyan wants to extend this disruption. It seems to me, right? I mean, if the sports bill and the Supreme Court verdict is out, Kalyan Chaube doesn't qualify, right? He's out. Continues, there's no clarity of ISL 25-26. Some clubs have already suspended the operation. They have told to close. Yeah. SB Sports Extremes, any sensible club would have, So yeah, let's wait and see. Hey Abhijit, since we got Khalid as gaffer, no, we don't, Abhijit. See, that's the problem that you and others are making at the moment. Again, watch my video, which I did earlier in the day. Then you'll understand what the situation is with Khalid Jamil. There is no clarity that Khalid will, in the end, become India coach. So there's a risk that it might not happen, right? And then you say, only thing we need is Javi, Eze, Murray, Siberia, and we're sorted. Yeah, isn't that the same thing that we would have said about Manolo, that he needed Uday and Guru Chena and Bora Herrera? Jadip and other criticized Pro Football Team. Now we have Kalyan Chaube. Yeah, Laknath, very well said. I'm not critical about the administrative. He was a million times better than Kalyan Chaube running AIFF. Yeah, but Zanawar, you're making an allegation. Let's see. Hey Roshan, ISL clubs have to start talking in one voice. Such answers like "I can only speak for my club" is understandable, but in general, no use in my opinion. Roshan, they don't speak in one voice, right? So therefore, yeah, that's the problem. The problem, and it's not a new problem that cropped up yesterday. The problem of Indian club football has been now for a while that we want the clubs to be speaking as one, but the clubs are speaking mainly for themselves, right? They look at themselves and look at their own issues and problems, and then don't bother about the rest, right? And therefore, we are in the situation where Reliance has been spoon feeding them. It's like babies who've been spoon fed, not rather for 6 months or a year, but rather been spoon fed for 11 years. And now in the situation, like, let's see. I think Ranjit Bajaj will become president of the AIFF. Aman, theoretically, not possible in regard to the constitution. Who will play Super Cup anyways? Blue, that's a good question. I mean, again, today's meeting and saying, hey, listen, if we've got the ISL happening later in the season, we can do the Super Cup before. Doing it September makes no sense, because even if all decisions are taken in the next 2-3 weeks, the ISL is not happening before Jan at this moment. And if things go into October, November, we're not talking. I mean, the season is lost, right? I mean, I would rather talk to you about football and let's discuss this, that, everything. But we're talking about this because there is no progress, right? Sorry to say, but somebody should handle what Kalyan Chaubey says. It's not good that he makes bold claims and then takes U-turns. Methamphetamine, isn't that the world today? We see that a number of fronts, right? I said, according to many Indian football fans and pundits back then, used to say that Prabhu was delaying elections. Yeah, so no, that doesn't mean that's right. I didn't say that, right? So those so-called pundits, football fans, journalists, whoever, yeah, right? And you add entire Indian football fan base was celebrating Prabhu, but it was removed. He had two private accounts, comments on Twitter because of the abuses Indian football used to hold him. Yeah, it's Kalyan Chaubey, Praful Patel is like Stephen Constantine and Igor Stimac. Very simple. Indian football fans think they know. The pundits think they know. The journalists, media think they know. Everyone's speculating, as I've said, right? I can proudly say that I was the only one 2 years ago pointing, hey guys, maybe you should start talking about this, you know? Right? So therefore, for me, it doesn't matter, right? What's the point of holding the Super Cup when there's no clear information about the ISL, given that how should we take the promises made by the AIFF president? Enough, with care. Because he can make any claim as long as there's no clarity. Is the MRA going to be, in whatever shape or form, going to be extended? There is not going to be a league. Very simple. At this moment in time, as things stand, there will be no league because the league, because of the Supreme Court hearing, sports bill, this, that, everything is being pushed back. So it means we were talking about October, then we're talking about November, then maybe December. Now we're talking about Jan. In an ideal case scenario, in January, things happening, right? So this is something which we all need to keep in mind because, things are the way they are at this moment in time. And it is very, very complex in my opinion. And we'll have to wait and see what happens, right? I think nobody can say anything. And Kalyan can say a lot because, we need powerful politicians like Praful who can convince Ambani for MRA. It's not about convincing. It's about working out how to make this work. And as I say, changing at the top is nice. But if I change at the top, let's see. Fun fact, now Indian football fans want the same guy back whom they abused day and night when he was in power. So that's why, as I say, I don't, I don't take it seriously. That's why, if you are in power, if you are in control of things, you cannot take everything seriously that the fans are saying. Because if you go by that, it will never work, right? You have to do whatever you think is right. Currently, just changing AIFF president doesn't give me more hope. Sooner or later, some groups start campaigning against the new president to get removed, or as outsider, you don't know what's right, wrong. Roshan, the problem is the right president alone will not be able to do anything, as you correctly understand it. You need changes there. You need changes in the EXCO. You need changes amongst the clubs, right? Today was the chance to raise topics with the AIFF. They didn't, right? What did they raise? Simplify the club licensing. The one thing which is good in Indian football, which was under pressure from AFC, done over a decade back, right? Some of those things are harsh, tough, but that's the thing. Hi, Vaman. Kalyan is losing words in the meeting. Just false hopes about Super Cup and ISL. He has no idea what is happening, what he's doing. Yeah, but how can he? Because he's not in control. He's not in charge. I don't see no influence of the so-called national club Mohun Bagan in Indian football. They're obsessed with Bengali football, even in the local tournaments they have foreigners. SGT, naming Mohun Bagan, you can add East Bengal to the mix. Look at the shamble states of Mohammedan Sporting or fighting relegation in the Calcutta League. Yeah, that's the thing. I think East Bengal, and I said this a lot yesterday, that East Bengal Mohun Bagan fans, I think at some stage need to recognize that they are part of Indian football. They don't stand above Indian football. And if this thing collapses, then you will face a situation that Mr. Goenka and Imami and all those guys will walk away. I think that is something which everybody needs to recognize. And if they walk away, this time I don't think Mamata Banerjee can bring anyone. And if you think that the BJP will help you if they come to power next year, then just look at Odisha and what's happening with Odisha FC. They're not interested. In fact, I was one of the few who defended Patel and was abused by Indian football fans back then. Majority of the big Indian football heroes, many of whom you may know, were demanding for Proful to be sacked. Zoravar, again, that doesn't mean it's right. Right? When I raised questions about Igor Stimac, a lot of people, therefore, for me, yeah, it's if 100 people are shouting, it doesn't mean that the 100 people are right. To me, there is things which are right and which are wrong. And the thing which are wrong will remain wrong for me. And if they are wrong for me, I will at least raise the topic and say, listen, these things are wrong. And that is something which I've always said, and yeah, it is. I don't know. It's where can we go from here? So, will the sports bill pass in the session? Nope. I heard Supreme Court will give verdict after, though I don't get that. Blue, I think why the Supreme Court, is waiting for the sports bill to pass is that as per what is in the AIFF constitution, the AIFF constitution gets overwritten by the sports bill. And in there are certain things which are in the current AIFF constitution, which makes it difficult. So therefore, I don't know. It's very, very, all AIFF members need to be changed. Yeah, you could. I think there's still some good people in there. But there are, even, if I see the clubs, if you see them, how they went there, if you see FSDL as well, there needs to be changes in there, and needs to be changes across the whole pyramid. How many people can you change? Can you change, I don't know, 40, 50, 70, 90% of the people and bring in new people and try and do it? Right? We've got too many people who sell themselves as I know, I understand, and this and that and everything, and they don't have an effing clue how football runs and operates. This is Indian football's biggest problem, is that there are too many people in Indian football who think they know everything, or at least something. They have power, they have money, and this and that, but they don't know what they're doing. Right? To me, that is the biggest problem, and it is stressful. Right? I'm at the moment very, very happy that I'm not actually attached to any football club or entity where we actually need to talk about things and maneuver through this whole time, which is just insane. Only reality in Indian football is nobody knows anything but me. Only I know everything. For such funny comments, sharp wit and sky high intellect, keep watching on foot. Like, share, and subscribe. No, Abhijit. I mean, thanks for the, you know why I say that? Because I've dealt with most of these people, right? You might say it sarcastically, but I think I've said things, I've predicted things, I've tried to do things which other people didn't see at the time. A lot of things, right? So yeah, that's my opinion, and I'm an opinionated person, But I also say, if you can convince me that my opinion is wrong, I'll change my opinion. But people come here and then they want to argue, and can't build on those points, then it's not worth the conversation, right? So yeah, that's the reality. This Kalyan raised Indian football to the ground. Dark Knight, yeah, let's see. So people has to wait, because if they give a verdict and sports bill comes up, then someone will again go to change constitution. Yeah. Talking about Kolkata football, sympathy for these ultras are doing rounds and rounds in Bengal social media for politics. Not in Bengal, I think India. I've seen it even on a national platform. So therefore, Bengal football still is in a false sense of superiority complex in Indian football. Just see the way majority former players and people associated with Bengal football speak. So rather, just see that Kolkata and Bengal football is not understood. Mohun Bagan and their success of the last 2 years, without the money of Mr. Goenka, wouldn't be possible. East Bengal at the moment wouldn't be spending the money that they are without the support of Imam. And very often people in the past forget that in the late 90s, early 2000s, even in the early 2010s, Vijay Mallya, through United Breweries, which is McDowell's Mohun Bagan, and through Kingfisher East Bengal, made all of that possible. So all this big talk and all, if these big corporates go, who's going to come forward? Does anybody think at this moment? And I always think it from that way. Just think it's, if you have the money, if you had a few crores to spare, so would you spend it? And that is the challenge. So let's see. Hypothetically speaking, is the idea of holding Super Cup without the assurance of a league feasible? Although Colin Chaube said that league will happen, it seems a lot of clubs are not convinced. Right? None of the clubs are convinced. If you think that you can hold the Super Cup as a pre-season to the ISL and think that the ISL is happening in November without none of the things sorted at this moment in time, do you think that if Reliance has put everything on hold, if clubs have put everything on hold, that they will say, okay, let's put a team together for September, and then, you know what, we don't need to play October, November, December, let's play in Jan again if the league starts. Maybe. So none of the things work, right? Who's going to clear stuff? I don't know. It's the Supreme Court tomorrow saying, hey, listen, guys, we're ready. Yeah, let's wait and see. Many are still in the illusion that Indian football still revolves around Bengal formats, and relative influence of Bengal football has gone down massively. Yeah, very right. Kolkata, Maidan, talk, gossip, and to some extent, a certain level of arrogance on things doesn't work. It doesn't, it is the way it is, and it's very difficult. So that's the point. I'm guessing NDTV covered it. I saw it. I think India Today, I think, is what I saw. AIFF is moving on as usual. U20 Championship hosted. Futsal club is going on. U23 is camping. U20 women playing qualifiers. Men's going to Kafa. Duran Cup is going on as planned. Super Cup planned for September. I think Super Cup in September is never ever happening. He just said it for the sake of saying it. Again, how many things did he say that happened and didn't happen, right? Where are then the 500 crores that was promised? So therefore, all of that doesn't make sense. Hopefully, we meet Singapore in October. Maybe not. Maybe we'll have dates for the league starting in December. December will not ever happen. Reliance takes its time to prepare and plan. And they're not just going to come around and say, oh, you know what, next week we're starting the league. They will not do that, right? So therefore, we have to be clear that if these things are going to happen the way they're supposed to happen, to me, if things are cleared, January to me looks likely for ISL. And if ISL happens, if ISL is sorted, then we can think about the I-League as well in Jan. Because I don't see the AIFF in a position to be hold. I'm interested to see how they're going to try and do the women's thing. Right? There's been no government communication, no corporates, whatsoever on the success of our women's, which is very, very sad, but that's the reality, right? So therefore, all these dates that he's throwing out, none is happening. Bengal football influence is reduced to such extent that hardly that many Bengali players are in the top division. That's also very true, right? So therefore, for us, that's a challenge. So therefore, for us, we have to see how we build this whole thing. And yeah. So therefore, for me, yeah, that's the situation. Kalin just wants clubs to start training so that players are fit for CAFA and qualifiers. Nadeem, they're not going to start for that. That's under the AIFF. The AIFF needs to take care of that. No? The players, why are we not hearing that the camp for the Indian team is starting this week? Why is the coach not signed? Right? Why is the coach saying, oh, let me finish Duran Cup and then I join the national team? It's like, I don't know. This is just disgraceful, right? Just for that, AIFF should say, thanks, Khalid, we considered you, but most probably you're not the right fit for us. But hey, this is, you can say it's a false superiority complex, but still there is buzz around Kolkata football, no matter how silly it is when the other parts are struggling. Palash, this buzz that you talk about, I feel, is somewhat of a created buzz. Because the real buzz 20, 15 years ago, when there was a buzz, it was always to an extent, to a level which you felt also in the city. Nowadays, it's, maybe around the stadiums, maybe around here, there, and all. SSCN is pushing a lot of the CFL content. The Durant committee is doing a lot. But again, if you want that buzz, you'll see that buzz around sevens in Kerala as well, right? You're saying that other parts are struggling. No, it's we are talking about the top end. And my CFL buzz is not going to help Indian football at the end of the day. Ask the IFA how many extra sponsors are coming in for the so-called buzz. We were talking about it yesterday, and I was hard hitting on that. That buzz is worth nothing because there's not one extra rupee coming in because of that, right? The attitude of Kolkata football fans comes from the experience they have had till now. Maidan, how bad it is, could still go on with its own terms. Not everyone can do that. I think, Palash, that's yes. But do people in Goa care what is happening? Do we care about what is happening in Mizoram in the Mizoram Premier League, which is to them more important than the I-League? Do we watch what's happening in Manipur? Look at the Shillong League. Look, as I said, Kerala in itself. Right. So you have it because Kolkata goes this way. Yes, there is a buzz, and they try and transport it. The others have a bus, they don't transport it, but it's also there, right? The sooner they realize there is football outside Salt Lake, the better for them. SGT, Salt Lake, I think, is a bad example. I would say Kolkata Maidan. By the looks of things, there won't be any ISL this year, at least if things go well, likely next year, July or August. I don't think FSDL will risk ISL in January as it will clash with WPL and IPL. So, however, there are certain rules and regulations in regard to league registration. So if we have an issue with the no top league, the AFC will ask questions and that might cost us our continental slots. So I think that some sort of league will be played from Jan to May. What format, how and all, that's a different question. But I think you will have a 4.5 month ISL in an either case scenario. Right? January to me at the moment, given the realities that I see, sports bill not set to pass, Supreme Court judgment not coming, before October, November, even January looks tough. So therefore, there are certain compulsions. and we'll have to wait and see what happens. Right. So therefore, yeah, very interesting to see what happens in the next few days. So, yeah, will be very, very interesting. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. That buzz is fake without any tangible results. It's also about fake pride in living in past glories, is Rawa's answer. Yeah, that's very true. Very true, Rawa. In every country, leagues are happening. So in India, will also, it happens. I think, what kind of an answer is that? Something or the other will happen. No, we have had a structure that was created, which started to grow, which has not fully worked. Let's be honest about that. The levels below it are not working also. And that seems to be imploding. So just to say, hey, you know, and then, not need to worry, we're in a better situation in many other countries. Where are we in a better situation? Am I missing the point here, or did I miss something? Where are we in a better situation? Better situation than whom? Our national team is shambles. Our system is in shambles. The federation doesn't seem to have a marketing partner maybe from January onwards. They lose close to half of their budget. The government is not coming forward. No one is interested. Yeah, it is nothing to worry. Everything is fine. Listen, we are in the biggest crisis that I can think of, that I have seen in my years of involvement in Indian football. Right? So, I don't know. That's baffles me. These kind of reactions, really, I can't take it. HD says, Balash, that's why I said Bengalis are obsessed with their football. The buzz is nothing. Bengali should realize there is football outside Salt Lake. Yeah, HTT has said, don't say Salt Lake, say Maidan. Salt Lake is a bad example. Mumbai City FC former coach Jorge Costa passed away. Day before, not yesterday, before yesterday's over. Yeah, very sad. Very sad to see Jorge Costa, former coach of Mumbai City. Portugal legend at FC Porto, captain under Jose Mourinho. Yeah, very sad. 53 years old, only a very, very young age to die. So very, very sad news to come out of Portugal. So yeah, all the best to the family. Yeah. We just need the Supreme Court verdict and a better leadership who can get us back to normal. Nadeem? Yeah. What do you want me to answer to this, what you've now said? You first say nothing to worry, right? Nothing to worry. And then you say, oh, listen, the Supreme Court is going to screw us even more than we are already screwed at the moment. Because that constitution doesn't work. Right? So, yeah. And where do you get the good leadership from? Am I missing something? Better leadership? Wow. Where does the better leadership come from? Do we, I don't know, grow them on trees, or do we plant some seeds in the earth and then they'll grow out there? It is not one person, two person. It needs across the system. I just said it a little while ago. You need better people across the system to be able to do this. Otherwise, we are in the same mess. We are not moving anywhere at the moment the way we're moving. We are moving backwards. We are not moving forwards. And if you think that the Supreme Court is helping us, the Supreme Court has gotten us to the state that we are in. There needs to be, if I had the money, I would take this whole case to CAS. If I had the money, I would actually do that. Just to prove for once and for people to understand that law of sports stands above of the law of the land, which in India, it seems to be too difficult for people basically to understand. We've just seen an embarrassing loss for the AIFF, for some of the big clubs in the I-League to Inter Kashi. It is just embarrassing because what? You fix things. You try to manipulate things. You didn't follow your rules and regulations. So you're looking for good leadership? Wow, we saw great leadership today sitting together in Delhi, right? And then the others who are shouting, I can do it better. I know what to do. and they've already done the disasters where we are in. Yeah. Also, the rumors that City Football is leaving Mumbai City to lack on certain good financials. No, Robert, they will. If the ISL shuts down, they will leave. Everyone's leaving. No? This is, again, I love this, how it is formulated. Yesterday, someone said, I said, yeah, it's logical, right? If the ISL collapses and doesn't exist, everybody's going to leave. There's nobody left. This is what people need to say. So, yeah. We're just lacking a good leadership who could manage things in order. Nadeem, who's the good leader? Leadership. It's not one. It needs many at many levels. I don't know, today am I speaking to myself or am I doing something wrong? Or where does the good leadership come from? From this whole lot that we've seen and we've heard about. Tell me good leaders that could take us out of this catastrophe which we are in. We are in a situation where things are imploding, right? And then I have to read seriously. Hi, Uchud, welcome back. Our assumption of ISA start in December are heavily reliant on how quickly all stakeholders agree to the terms with the proposed structure. There might be difficult discussion. 100%. You know, the point is, everybody's okay. Tomorrow's Supreme Court takes a decision. Oh, you hold elections quickly. Oh, you sort it out. You hold the election, and then you talk, and then within 5 days, everything is sorted. Uchud, you very, very important, very, very valid point. We are in a situation where we should be talking about how are they going to sort it out and take it forward. We are stuck in that, right? We are stuck in the situation. And yeah. So very, very difficult. Why the judge was appealed to CAS and got rejected? No, they didn't appeal to CAS. They went to the Federal Court of Switzerland or the Swiss Federal Court. And they just said it's not the matter for us to look at. This. Again, Churchill Brothers is trying to do everything they can. They are within their rights. But if they don't read the last sentence of the CAS judgment, that it is the final order, and they've even said other things, I don't know. I'm following Indian football since last 35 years. This is the worst phase. Exactly. What more to say? We are in a situation where we should be, hoping something happens. Otherwise, we're going in a direction which is very, very, very dangerous. We're going down a very, very dangerous slope at the moment. And the question is, what can happen, what cannot happen? But we are in a very bad phase. We're in a very bad phase. And the question is, how do we get out of this? Because it's very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And yeah, let's see. And I don't know. I honestly don't know how we can get out of this. India to host upcoming U17 Asian Cup, AFC U7 Asian Cup qualifiers in Ahmedabad. Why would they choose such venues? How will they bring fans? I don't understand how AIFF makes a decision. SGT, very simple. It is about money. This is not a decision about how to bring fans. Also, as a fan, you have to think about the AIFF doesn't have money. So they're going around and asking people, can you help us? Can you reduce our costs? This is why the Super Cup has been played yeah. So for us, I don't know. It's very, very difficult. It's very, very tricky, the situation you find ourselves. So that's the reason. And of course, another we get it. It's not a BJP connection. It's about other connections which are there. But yeah. Indian football is basically becoming Pakistan football. At least Pakistan can use it as proper. So now we are still, on that front, we're better than Pakistan because they still don't have a proper league. But the question at the end of the day is how can we sort our things out to be running in a proper way? And India was on a good path, So, yeah. Let's not compare with African nations, says Ochut. They have a completely different system. Most of the players and coaches are based elsewhere, so they train and play under the best info and then just turn up for their national teams. True, very true. But the point at the end of the day is, if you listen to some of the people, right? I mean, I remember Cameroon was, because they couldn't find aircraft, so they were flying the team with military jets and all that, military transporters, not military jets, military transporters. There's some insane stuff which happened over the years. What do you make of the press conference? Why no reporters guts to ask why negotiation was late for the last few months? It was asked, it wasn't answered. What's up? It was asked. I know from a couple of guys who asked. You know, and yeah, but delayed for the last few months. It should have been started 2 years ago, as I've said. That's the whole problem. Timelines, right? So therefore, yeah, all owners' body language were down. Utsav, there were no owners. There were only the CEOs or the general managers of the clubs, and they are fighting for their jobs, for their own jobs, not only their jobs, but the jobs of the people that they work with. We're talking about a few thousand people who could be out of a job, and clubs have started to shut down. Odisha said, DFC have said, Chennai FC have said, and more are to come in the next few days. Because today's press conference, or sorry, today's meeting, forget the press conference, but today's meeting doesn't give them the surety that anything will happen, right? We are in the situation we are in, right? That's a fact. But the situation as it stands at this moment in time, right, as I speak, the ISL starting in 2025 looks very tough, and starting, so that's the thing. So let's wait and see. Nagaland seems to be a state with significant footballing potential. Just saw a goal in Nagaland Football League, the bicycle course of Pushkash potential. So rather in those leagues, I don't know. All these states have potential, yeah. But what do you do then the next level, right? And that is the question. Naga Football League, or I think they had the Naga Premier League or something in the past as well, always looked very interesting, right? Sadly, I've never been to Kohima or to Dimapur, but would love to go there once and watch, because I know I've got some Naga friends who always say, "Man, Dada, you have to come," and this, that. Sadly, I've never had the time. Kalyan Chaube has assured us for a league, but we are doubtful. SGT, yeah, that's the reality. That's the reality. And that's the sad part. If there was the clarity, yeah, who knows? I used to check these national team players of top African teams that hardly played senior level in their own countries. Yeah, got to other African countries or then to Europe at the right time. Hey Akash, top three of I-League 24-25 already played Super Cup. How can, without new season of I-League, they can arrange Super Cup? Nonsense. Akash, you are too deep into the topic. This is just ticking the box of doing something. Who's going to play? How is going to play? Who wants to play? Again, I-League, is anybody discussing the start and when the I-League will be held? Has anyone spoken about it in the last few weeks? Right? The AIFF is trying to keep morale up. And as Utsav said, the guys, not the owners, but the CEOs, the general managers present, they don't believe in all of that, right? They know what reality is. With my experience of handling administration, I can tell you all it is very difficult, and meetings like today are done to pacify people, simple management strategy, and everybody in that room were aware of that, yeah. On both sides, let's be very clear. The clubs who went to the AIFF knew that if I go to the AIFF, I put a little pressure on Reliance, on FSDL. I get, we get to talk about things, and then, you want to also hear what's the situation with the federation. The one thing is, what is very clear from today, that the AIFF doesn't want to go to the Supreme Court and ask for injunction for the ISL, right? And that is something which I think a lot of people are taking away from today's meeting, right? So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. So the Parliament even presented sports bill on the table. Why Supreme is waiting for it? I heard bill could be presented on the next session. What's up? No, they haven't. Because there are other issues that every day something else seems to be cropping up for the Parliament. And the Supreme Court is waiting because there are changes in the sports bill would have also implications for the AIFF constitution. So therefore, they want to do it in one go, but maybe that's not the right way. Did you see interview Apik Chatterjee, Ashwini? No, Roshan, I was on the road today, stuck in jam actually. And so I will surely watch it, but no, I've not seen it so far. Only solution is invite all clubs to play in I-League. What's if they don't want to play in I-League? Do you think that the AIFF themselves can organize a league? Guys, think about these things, because we are not in a position. The AIFF has had problems with the I-League over the last few years, and you want the ISL teams to go down to the I-League without the help support of Reliance to run the system? Not happening. Thomas Muller signed for an American club. Yeah, Zorawar, he signed in Canada. He signed for an MLS club, but he signed for Canada for the Vancouver Whitecaps. And you'll be playing in a squad. Jeevan Badwal, player of Indian origin, the youngster, the teenager. Your view, Darwin Nunes to Al Hilal. Roshan, it is very crazy to see, that Darwin Nunes goes to Al Hilal. Mio leaves Stuttgart to join Al Ahly. So yeah. So therefore, interesting. And let's see if they now get their target of Alexander Isak in place. I've checked prior registration. Gokulam Kera have registered 6 to 7 of the new signings and took 2-3-year contracts. They also signed foreigners as per reports in media. Diamond Hava done majority signings. Okay, we've got 2. 1 second. Srinath also signed a few players. 3. Najam Namdari, Rio Kashmir are playing Durant. All of them are playing with local players, not to forget. So are I-League clubs ready as normal for season? No, they're not. Because Gokulam Kera normally would be playing. And if you're saying that they've signed as per media reports, again, maybe my learning is media reports. I'm very, very careful. So therefore, you are just Googling things and trying to figure out what they've done. Srinidhi have fired their setup, changed their setup. Other teams are not, I've not heard about what they're doing, because there's nothing happening, right? So that's, I don't know. They should turn the Durand Cup into a league. It is the oldest in Asia. Also, it has the potential from different PSUs and private companies. I'm giving up, guys. If I see all these ideas today, I'm honestly giving up. Miller player Jeevan. Yeah, Jeevan Badwal, exactly, player of origin. Sir, Kalyan literally said in 10 days they will decide on Super Cup and details. Doesn't the guy understand? That's not at all the priority right now. He can't even be taken seriously. Mahan, yeah. I get your point. And therefore, my question is, are we taking him seriously for everything that he's saying? And then my answer to you is no, right? Because at the moment, as we see what is being said, what is being done, what Kalyan is trying to do, it's not working, right? I mean, we could talk about things, but it's very, very difficult at the moment. So, what changes in 10 days? The clubs will then ask, say, as the Supreme Court come to a decision. That's the first thing. Yeah. So yeah. Has it ever happened in history of a country that the top tier league hasn't happened? Yeah, what's of it has, right? So do you see Saudi league having same fate as CSL, overspending to sign big European names without that many global level local talents? So rather, I would say no, because I think the Saudis have a better long-term planning. I think they also have a little bit of better talent. Some of the Saudi players, because of allowing too many foreigners actually going abroad, playing in Qatar, playing in UAE, and some of them are coming to Europe. So from that perspective, I think it's a good sign for Saudi football. And if you ask me, China had a huge problem, and that was COVID. I don't know if COVID hadn't hit, if China and its football would be in a different situation or different dimension. And the Saudis have a long-term plan. They signed an AIFF website showing new players at Gokulam, Kerala FC players. I think fine, but are they ready? Are they, again, Gokulam Kerala? Are they ready to play tomorrow? Do you know people at Gokulam Kerala who will tell you we're a little worried as well? That's my point. Again, you guys look up stuff without talking to people. That's the problem. You can read everything, you can Google everything, but the ground reality is that due to the ISL situation, the ID clubs also know that if ISL doesn't happen, the AIFF doesn't get money, then the I League is not going to happen because they don't have the money to hold the I League. Look at this mess it was last year. It's just logical. But again, here, Rushabh, welcome back. So what is his proposed extend Super Cup to 6 weeks tournament? What does he intend to start the league? He can't start the league. Utsav, who, and why to 6 weeks? The Super Cup, I don't even know what format they're going to play. The Super Cup supposes a preseason. So they'll keep it most probably, 4 groups of 4, quarterfinals, semi-finals, final. Bas, khatam. Only thing in AIF's control is Super Cup, so agreed on this regarding ISL Supreme Court verdict. They can't talk on MRA. Yeah, but nothing. But he said the league will happen, right? Didn't he say that the ISL or something will happen? The Super Cup, yes, but no one will play the Super Cup if they don't know what's going to happen with the league. So it is interconnected, yeah. And that's the challenge in this. That's why this conversation is nice to have. But again, because Kalyan wants to stand good over there, he's not going to say what the reality is, right? So the interesting part is in the next few days to see what do the other people say what happened. Suddenly one day Kalyan Chau will pop up and say we'll play FIFA for this season. Who knows? Maybe. Football in Saudi is the most popular sport. China still doesn't have a football culture. I wouldn't agree to that. There is some level of football culture in China, but again, there are things that have worked in China, or rather have not worked in China, and therefore football is in the state it is in China, right? So therefore, these comparisons don't work. In Saudi, I think it can work if they keep pushing, and if you see that, in China, you also had players close to the 30s or 30 plus going over there, and in Saudi, young players or players in their prime are going. So that's, I think, also a big difference, right? And the reality is also Saudi Arabia is not too far away from Europe. So that helps. I think the weather helps, the cities help, the culture, the lifestyle helps in that way. China is just too far away. And I mean, out of own experience, you go to China, China is a different world. It's a different beast. By the way, the savior of Indian football was still against any future MRA signing. Robert, he has been, he is, and he's one of the reasons why we're in the mess, right? But he will say he's saving Indian football, but what do you trust in any future MRA deal? Robert, he could, but it depends on the new AIFF to sort those things out in advance, right? So that's the thing, I think. Yeah. That's very, very important in my opinion, that things are taken care of. Otherwise, this mess will continue, Observed one stat, Saudi Arabia goal reduced significantly in 2026 World Cup qualifiers compared to 2018, 2022 because of too many foreigners. Nadeem, Some will say so, some will say so. Again, so I think the Asian qualifiers at the top, even though you've had now 18 teams fighting for 8 spots, the quality has gone up at the top level. That's, I think, the real reason. If Supreme Court order gets late to November, December early, can he start the league? He cannot start any league. Utsav, why is it he? He has no power to start a league in the sense of outside of the I-League. If he says, I want a new league and you please join in, I don't even know if anyone would say yes. Be it I-League or be it ISL. Right? Either they sort out something with the MRA, then the ISL can start at some stage. If the ISL cannot start at some stage, then the question is, where do we go? Right? What's the new league idea might be nice, right? But who's going to fund it? What about Argentina's India tour scenario now? Actually, there is no scenario. They're not coming. For the moment, they're not coming because it doesn't fit into their schedule. Very simple. Right? No outcome, basically, right? Yes. I think anyone who expected something, I don't know what she expected, because Kalyan Chaube is not in a position to offer something. Right? His problem is he can't offer anything. What could he have offered? Right? And they discussed the Super Cup. Yes, that's something to talk about, to look at. But the reality is, as long as there is no clarity on the MRA, nothing can move forward. Who will even fund new league? And that's the question, Ishan. To me, that's a big question. That, given the realities, I mean, I just ask you guys the question, right? And again, all of us are passionate about football. That's why you're here. And you have enough money on the side, and you could say, listen, I could invest a few crores here and there. Would you do it in Indian football at this moment, at this juncture? And I ask myself this question. I honestly say to myself, as much as I love Indian football, at the moment, I wouldn't do that. Because it makes no sense, right? So we have to be honest enough to ourselves that if someone wants to invest money, that will not happen, you know? So therefore, for me, we've seen the dwindling of sponsors over the last few years across the board. We saw last season the AIFF was saying, okay, listen, we will market I-League, I-League 2, IWL, IWL2, Santosh Trophy, Women's Nationals, right? And then Sony had to be paid to put the I-League on there. So therefore, this is very difficult. Messi is visiting India this year, and he will travel to various Indian states. Yeah, so I've read it. Let's see. Let's see if it happens. I don't know if it's confirmed because it didn't say who is behind this whole thing. Also, one thing is Qatar wins Asian Cup back-to-back. While in World Cup qualifiers, you see South Korea, Japan, Australia, Iran competing against top nations. Way of Qatar, UAE, Iraq. Well, Asian Cup, Japan not winning. Is it because Asian Cup in January? Nadeem, a tournament and qualifiers are two different things. And you see Japan, Korea normally should be the two best teams. And Korea has not won in the Asian Cup, I don't know, for decades, right? So therefore, it seems to me that the East Asian countries have not been able, yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't know if there's something about it written somewhere which explains this, but to me that's a very tough one, because I mean, someone like a Heung-min Son never won an Asian Cup, right? I think one of the best Asian players of the last generation. I want ISL and don't want Kalyan Premier League. Yeah, Dark Knight, I think you wouldn't be the only one who says that, who thinks and believes that. it's a tough one, right? It's a tough one at the moment, and again, I normally, I look into the future. I'm a little, I think, overthink, I'm critical about things. But at this moment in time, I can't give you a judgment and say this will happen or this won't happen, because there are too many loose ends. And what I've realized over the last 3 months, a lot of people sell you the thing that I know, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The broadcasting company was involved for this Argentina to India is planning to take legal action against them. Yeah, so let them do it. Whatever they think is right. I mean, Argentinian Football Association, the AFA. If AIFF is not agreeing to the FSDL proposal, then why Kalyan Chaub is giving assurance as if he has other options? Why is he faking as if he has a second plan ready? Should they be in panic mode already? SGT, I don't know if he is or if he isn't. Because again, if I could be brutal and say, does Kalyan really care? Because as long as the Supreme Court thing gets delayed, he stays in power. And if the sports bill and the Supreme Court decision come out, he cannot stand again for election. So he cannot be again AIFF president. So, and I don't know, the longer the Supreme Court doesn't take a decision, if FIFA ban comes closer, Roshan, someone has to go to FIFA. No? Either the AIFF themselves need to go to FIFA or the clubs. I mean, that's why I said in my video yesterday, what options do the ISL clubs have? And to me, and today, the clubs were told by the AIFF, no, we're not going to the Supreme Court. Let us take a legal advice. So I think the clubs need to write a letter to AFC and to FIFA and ask for their intervention, right? Can you make a video regarding Korean football structure, how the youth football development system is like Japan school football? So, Robert, I could try, but I don't know the system well enough to really do something. So, roti nahi chahiye, aata nahi chahiye, hum bas ISL chahiye. Oh, Hannibal, yeah. You don't want flour, you don't want bread, you want the Indian Super League. Yeah, it is. I think all of us want that, right? I think all of us want the league to happen, and if the league happens, then also the rest of the structure is at least running. And yeah, let's wait and see. Hey Rudra, welcome back. Do you see any potential in the boys from Kumar who was still not yet featured for Inca Romania? Yes, I do. But Angry Birds, everyone he played in one or two friendlies, a half or two or something. What do you expect? He's not the number one goalkeeper. You expect him, after what he played last year in the Indian Super League, that he will go to Slovenia, to a first division club, and then start playing for them. No, he has to learn, and maybe a time will come. I don't know, but he has to first be on the bench. Yeah, from Jobe have no face value. No one believe what Jobe told today. Of course not. How can anyone believe? Right? How can anyone believe anything that he said? Who will fund Super Cup? I don't think Odisha again after government change. It might be still Odisha. I don't know. You see, the under-17 has gone to Gujarat now. I don't know which states as options remain. Will be interested. Otherwise, he'll try and push it through with the IFA and Bengal. Sadak nahi chahiye, roti nahi chahiye, ISL chahiye. Yeah, this is now the slogan. I think you should start a slogan campaign, huh? Maybe with banners in front of the AIFF and in front of Reliance office. The courts are killing football as well as students too. I know it because still WBJEE results are not out just due to reservation issues. Yeah. Maybe clubs can start playing in Nepal or Sri Lanka League. Yeah. And itself, you're making a joke out of it, and maybe it is funny to you, But this is this situation is so serious at the moment and is so complex at the moment that it is not funny. Sorry to say, because thousands of livelihoods are in danger. Because at the end of the day, the players, the top players have earned in crores. You know, they can survive a year without payments. But the small, the younger players with less money, the not the head coaches or assistant coaches, but the smaller coaches in the system, analysts, the operations guys, the guys sitting in the office, all those guys are losing their jobs, their livelihoods. So it's very, 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 very tragic to see. Very, very, I find it very sad, to say the least. But what will they do by realizing it? Kolkata people know there are other pockets where football is good, also other places where it's not, but that's not their concern. No? They have a point, Balash. What if we fans spam FIFA page with corruption investigation? What do you say? They say football is nothing without fans. Will they listen? HGT, you're going to spam, right? For a corruption investigation. Corruption of what? Would be my first question, right? Because if you're going to send them messages and there is no substance in your allegation, why would they cross-check it? You have to have something. I always say, right, people earlier, right, Rama said about Mr. Mr. Praful Patel. I just simply say, put the proof out. If you have it, put case against the gentleman if he's done anything wrong. But all these so-called cases that we have and allegations, this, that, and everything, I never see a result of saying, hey, listen, this guy has actually been caught. Because in FIFA investigations, very often you've seen, right, former secretary of Bangladesh, look at the whole Pakistan thing in the past, countries, even in South America. Yeah, it's crazy. AIFF is not accepting my 3-year contract. Khalid, I give you a contract till March and either you take it or not, and then I would go to someone else. That Khalid Jamil at the moment is saying, I will coach Jamshedpur FC until the end of the club's Duran Cup campaign is a disaster. Disaster. They're happy with Mohanbani's Bengal and other things. Now you are saying they should not celebrate the players' arrival, but what will they do? It's not like they can protest in front of AIFF House. Palash, they could ask questions to their clubs, right? The clubs are part of the problem. They're not at the moment, So yeah. Thoughts on today's draw? Tough. Both tough. I'd hoped a little easier, but both of them under 17 boys and girls look tough to me. Kalyan full BHG by contesting election against Mamata Banerjee's independent candidate. He was a soldier of BJP. He thought he is a big leader in Bengal and we can capture Bengal. I don't know enough to be able to comment on that, Vishwajit. So I'm surprised how the Ambanis have been quiet in all this. They only come when they want the fame, and when they really have to come and talk, they disappear. No, what is the fame? What in doing football has been for them fame? They have spent money. Do you have 3,000 crores to spend out of your own pocket? Do I have it to spend out of my own pocket? What? They could come out and say you want to do it. But if Mr. Ambani took a real interest in football, if we were able to convince Mr. Ambani, you know what, we can create, the ISL can become an IPL and India will play in a World Cup. You have to put that on the table. If you could convince him, he would do it most probably. But our standard is so that we're not even, yeah. The online hatred against Indians has started to transition to real life, multiple knife attacks against Indians in Ireland. Yeah, but it's a problem. And again, look at comments elsewhere. Yeah, very sad. Players give a statement only after their salary being stopped. Where were they when India lose every time? Jingan telling we will not be fit. What are they doing even after being fit? Yeah, but Listen, losing, yeah, is bad. I think Sandesh did last time comment. I don't know. People said it was not his comment, but a chat GPT thing, whatever it was. Um, this is about livelihoods. And it's not only theirs, but people that they work in, week out, right? Day in, day out, right? So it might sound as if they're only talking about themselves. I don't think Sandesh is talking specifically about himself, but I think even if you look at Sunil's statement, the statement was not just about itself, but it's about he used himself as an example. And again, I don't have problems, but they're talking about the rest of the system, of the ecosystem, which is facing issues. So layoff happens just like in corporate. If I'm being realistic, I won't be surprised if football doesn't happen for entire season. Utsav, if that is your answer, then that is very, very poor. Right? Layoffs happen, yeah, TK. Again, yeah, if you're not good enough, if they shrink is fine. But here it's not shrinking, it's closing. You know? So this sorry, it's not an answer that I'll take. And Pawan says most of the Kolkata fans were not in Twitter 3 or 4 years back. We had to start a campaign to bring them into Twitter to fuel the remove ATK campaign, but only a handful of them took it as a challenge. Yeah. Cullen's neither a charismatic leader nor an influential person. That's also a reason of his failures. The AIFF president in football deserves a much better person as its boss. You have a point. And that is those two things, being a charismatic leader, being an influential person. If you don't have it, you won't be able to do things. And therefore, we are stuck where we're stuck at this moment in time because Kalyan can't do all of those things, which is neither of them. If Rishi thought he's a big with all that machine in the poster, then there should be politics. So I want Jamshedpur FC to be knocked out of Durham Cup as soon as possible. Dark Knight, let's see. Yeah. I think if things are going the way they are going, maybe someone else might become Indian head coach. That's why I did that short video today. AIFF Khalid may still took the Indian football coach contract. It's a very tricky scenario. I respect the money from the investment in football, but reality is that the interest from football is done and dusted. Yeah, Rudro. Yeah. And that might be also reality, which we don't want to hear, but that's, yeah. If the players are really worried about livelihoods, then go outside and play. Who will give them a chance? I mean, they could go, yeah, but I've been contacted by players, but I said, no one's going to give you a contract. And you're not going to get the money that you think you're worth. So therefore, none of this is, if they would come to Europe, they would have to spend money to be playing football, not to earn money. Yeah, right? I'm worried about our U20 women's, whatever we got to see yesterday was disappointed. Both women couldn't get a simple touch away from opponents. Fullback. Rishabh, very tough. We have to win Turkmenistan and then have to beat Myanmar. That's the reality now. So let's wait and see. Thoughts on Mundavar? The less I say SGT, the better. Because whatever I say is, a waste of time in my opinion. A friend of mine who's planning to send their kid to Germany to study was asking if it's safe there for Indian students. Recent attacks have made many Indian parents worried. Yeah, it's safe. Again, a lot of Indian students also don't know how to behave themselves, right? This problem is not a one-sided story. It's the two-sided stories, So Germany was safe, is safe, and I guess will be safe. So, yeah. Bengali politicians are nowadays okay, Hannibal. Thoughts on your 17 Asian Cup qualifiers? Can we top it? Moment difficult. Both of them look difficult if you ask me. Because if I look at it, the women's we face Uzbekistan, host Kyrgyz Republic in Bishkek looks tough in October. And the boys, it's even tougher because we've got home advantage in Ahmedabad, but Iran, Palestine, Chinese Taipei, and Lebanon. tough mix. So I would hope, I would wish, so let's wait and see what happens. But yeah, wish would be there, but I don't know if we can fulfill it, right? That's our challenge. That's our challenge at the moment. So please invite Musa Bhai and Furious Hari for the channel like good old days. Yes, Rudra, I will do, and we'll talk. And to be very honest, Dada, the entire Bengal BJP is filled with people like Kalyan at the moment. All the TMC and other party rejects our governance in opposition to. Yeah. So AIFF, one more tea coffee meeting ends. Kalyan Chaubis saying we will do everything for Iceland Super Cup will be held. I'm irritated to hear so stupid statement. Just you can't speak truth, Kalyan. Yeah, Ranlata, what are you expecting? Right, but what else was supposed to? What was supposed to come out of this? I mean, I don't know. It's what am I? What are you? What are we supposed to expect out of this situation? I don't know really. I was trying to stay positive with yesterday's game, thinking maybe it's the first competitive game. That's why they didn't play well. But I guess it's just harsh reality. We're just unable to produce. Yeah, that's the hard realization, Rushabh, and I feel that's most probably So that's the reality. Very tough, both in AFC women and men's U19. Need to look a lot of preparation for as simple as that. Without it, we should be done. Yeah, but it's both of them are tough, and both of them are coming up soon. So we'll have to wait and see. Musa was praising Bajaj on X. Okay, didn't see that. One of the reasons for racism is Indians are behavior and insecure acts. Yeah, Hannibal, as I say, it's not one way. It's a two-way street these days. There are a lot of people who have a very dangerous, very weird mindset on these things. But again, we have a lot of people are coming from India these days who basic courtesy, manners. Yeah. I don't like it that AIFF is just a handicap organization who can't bring sponsors, investors on its own independent island like Reliance. But Utsav, who's going to come? I mean, they've tried last year. Before that, the year, they failed miserably, got nobody actually. And yes, you're dependent on Reliance. So therefore, that's the problem, right? So to me, so therefore, that's the reality, right? So did you see my biscuit and coffee? No, I didn't see that. I have to see. Why the club reps are not asking Supreme Court temporary solution? They can meet with the AIFF but not become a party at the Supreme Court. Panash, good point. I think they wanted to wait for this. I'm interested to see what the clubs now do. Was the AIFF today said, we're not going to move forward in the Supreme Court. We're going to let it run, so to say, at the moment as it is. We're interested to see what the clubs now do. Do they wait? Do they watch? Or do they actually act and move forward? Will be very interesting to see. Apart from the rest of the group looks fine for under 70 team. Again, we can expect them to score as many goals as possible and hopefully pull off a draw against Iran somehow. No, I don't think. Do you think that Lebanon and Palestine are easy teams to beat with potential origin players joining them? Not sure, Rushabh. However, the problem is racist acts are now happening to even kids as young as 3-year-old. A 3-year-old was attacked by a bunch of Irish kids for his skin color. Yeah, but there are conversations happening at home and they are not good, and then something here happened there, and then it's a problem. So Minerva personally make company is some good thing for Minerva now. At least the players will get the best exposure at global levels. Minerva not good judge. What's this? Yeah, let's wait and see. I'm not a fan of these tournaments. Again, this is a better quality tournament potentially, but let's see if they're going to play in the top level or in the beyond the C tier. That's going to be interesting. Can you imagine BCCI from top to bottom? That depends on Dream 11 to run day-to-day operation. That's how bizarre the situation is. No, I don't. I mean, I don't follow. Yeah. What's this nonsense going? Germany not signed contract. Well, only after World Cup means CAF and national matches are dusted for. Well done, AIFF. Yeah, you should normally finalize your coach and then get into conversations with people, and that's what the AIFF didn't do. No? Therefore, we are in the situation we are in now. Musa praising Bajaj is oversimplification. He just asked what are the other clubs doing to provide game time for their kids. Yeah, but Panash, this so-called game time, going there, playing, if you're winning 15, 20, 25 nil, then you could have gone to some, I don't know, you could have gone to Goa, to Mumbai, to Bangalore, to Kolkata, to the Northeast. I think those matches, so therefore, what's the use? You're not even playing the best teams, and those 7-9-a-side tournaments, 40-minute matches, what's the value? Rather come for 2 weeks, play 4 or 5 good friendlies. So let's see. Yeah, Bajaj was playing in Dana Cup on Insta and was showing it as top division, whereas in reality it was playing in second division as an hour. Again, this is what to say. I mean, the less I say, it is just pathetic, to say the least, to sell it the way it is being sold. Okay, enough frustration for today. Good night. Take care. SGT, good to see you. Thanks for being there. Yeah, once more, 2 hours and 27 minutes nearly into this live on this Thursday, 7th of August. The Indian football discussion. What's the outcome? And for me, yeah, it's difficult. So therefore, leave a like, leave a share, subscribe, support, and therefore 18 likes so far. Thank you very much. As always, I say I need your support. We need to grow this community. We need to work on things, and I need your help. 2,812 at the moment. Watch the short videos. As I say, did something on the Khalid Jamil situation, which is bizarre to say the least. So yeah, it's let's see what it is. If it's origin players, then maybe difficult, but Lebanon players don't have a good record in qualifiers. That's true, Rushabh, but I think some of these countries would, they're very interesting to see. I also know that we are weaker than we have been in the past. Again, so that's also a reality. Good night, Zoravar. Catch you soon. But that's also not happening, right? Top Indian clubs rarely play in youth tournaments around the country. Punish, it's too costly. My youth system is a loss-making entity. My club overall is a loss-making entity. And therefore, it's not easy. Lebanon passed and 70 previous editions were very weak. Yeah, I mean, but you never know. So that's what I'm saying. I'm going from my team. Well, Giants Taipei, I don't rate that highly, but if I look at them, they can pull off a few things. If I get a few boys here from Germany, from Netherlands, from Belgium, from France, forget it. At least we have been qualifying for U17 finals regularly until last season, but again, if they have origin players involved, yeah, it would be a difficult group. Rushabh, don't forget, we have had a massive drop over the last 4 years in the under-17s, right? Under-17 World Cup, and the next generation with Vikram Pratap as captain. That's a high. And then COVID, okay, I understand that. And then now with the new AIFF, I mean, I saw them 2 years ago in Augsburg. I was everything but impressed, right? So therefore, the quality wasn't good. Sir, in 2010s, too, our national team situation wasn't great either. Then why did investors come into invest in a dead spot? It wasn't a dead spot, Utsav. 2010, Prabhu Patel convinced the Ambanis to come forward to invest. So that's the first step that happened. And once that was done, the Ambanis convinced the others to come in and invest into the ISL. And they're still there, right? So, yeah. Very wonderful to see our community not only interact in English, but also had to learn German language somewhat and also interact in sometimes super interaction. Thanks, Ramata. Good to see. Let's see. My father recently met with Chobe when he visited Udaipur for an academy in inauguration. Yeah, he was there for the Hindustan Zinc Women's Academy. Let's see what happens there. Hopefully, they'd have decent preparation, else we would see the same thing that we saw yesterday. Rushabh, that's the problem. And that's the problem with our youth teams systems. Again, I think going into September, October, no league, no competition, just friendlies and then playing matches here and there. In the past, these teams used to go abroad and train, right? So let's see. Let's hope that something happens. But it's, as I say, it's a challenge, and let's wait and see where we can go with this team. Hey, Yuvraj, I am good, and hope you're doing good as well. Welcome back to the channel. In 2020, we're two-time defending champions of Nehru Cup, AFC Challenge Cup champions on the verge of playing AFC Asian Cup 2011. Yeah, but Nadeem, if you think those are factors of why Mr. Ambani invested, it's the skills of a certain Praful Patel who got him involved. Let's be very clear about that. It is. And Praful told him about the potential that it could, as a product. If we were in the early days of the IPL, those, in my opinion, those are the factors which convince him to invest. Women team rank 63rd, rose to highest in 4 years, only category award team given to us despite in football. Drowned already very deep in water and destroyed. It was a hope U20 qualifying too. Yeah, that's good. Was Lucas Podolski in 2002 an upcoming star when he scored twice against India U16? Nadeem, it was U17. He was playing for the Cologne U16. They rated him, but he wasn't a star. He was just a youth player in their academy. But yeah, I will remember it. You could see the potential that he had. And a few months later, he was playing in the second Bundesliga for Cologne and got them promoted. IS or any other league as top tier Indian football all set to hit lows. Yuvraj, there is no league happening. If the MRA is not extended, what league? Who will play? Who will come? Who will do? It's not happening. And yeah. So therefore, for me, what to say? I mean, I didn't expect anything, to be very honest today. What to expect also from this situation, to be very honest. But at least the meeting happened. The question now is, what is the follow-ups? I think the clubs have now a clarity on, we've met Kalyan Chaube, and then let's see. Let's see what happens. Difficult because if no ISL, then other league, no I league, what league? Yeah. Or Lucas, just a normal player. Just a normal player, Nadeem, with a lot of potential. Again, he played the next year for Cologne, and then that was his breakthrough in the second Bundesliga, and then the rest is history, right? It's like a lot of players, Flo Janvert, same pathway from the Cologne Academy. Ballon d'Or winner 2025 for you. I don't have any. But who's the exceptional player who deserves it? I don't have a player for this year. I saw the list, but I wasn't convinced that I'd say this player, that player, because that's the reality of things now. So that's the challenge. And yeah. It'll be interesting to see what we do. Huge challenge, but I don't have a name. Do top U17 teams work like senior teams, getting players in and out based on their performances in youth leagues, or it's just like us scouting players once a year to keep in the title group for the rest? Rushabh, it's like with the seniors. And if you don't have a good year, I mean, normally you get, there are different terms. Academy graduates, for example, you call it in the UK. Here you say you're part of an NL set, Germany. And so therefore, yeah, you can come in and go out from the under 15s onwards. It's quite quite competitive in academies in the top teams. To a very concerning point was raised that this is August, transfer window closes in a few days. Yuvraj, that's a problem which will have to be looked at, but I don't think that we will be having any league before the December window. So I know the foreigners is the topic that the clubs were actually not saying, but that's what they meant. That is their big concern, because a lot of teams have not signed or confirmed their foreigners, and because of the force majeure rule, theoretically a lot of players can leave. So let's wait and see what happens. I'm waiting to see what the players do. I'm waiting for a first Indian player to say, listen, I'm trying my luck in Bangladesh or in Nepal, or I'm trying to go to Southeast Asia, or a player says, hey, listen, I want to go to Europe. Let's wait and see. Dembele, maybe. But was it my problem this year? Is there a standout Ballon d'Or level performance? If you think, give it to Mo Salah, Sir Dembele's long career. No, Yuvraj, it doesn't work like that. No, then I would say, give it to Thomas Müller, right, for his career. It is not for your career. This is for the season, So therefore, for me, as I said, I don't know who to give it to. I don't have a standout player. I mean, it's crazy. Maybe someone like a Donnarumma might be or should be part of the discussion. Do you think Messi, Ronaldo era robbed a lot of well-deserved player of their Ballon d'Or in the respective season, like of Ribery, Lewandowski? 100%. I mean, that's why there are weaknesses in Ballon d'Or and the FIFA football awards, because it's a subjective thing for people, coaches, players, journalists, fans, right? An exceptional performance doesn't have to be given an award, So, the Dembele carried PSG alone around that. Yeah, but is it about carrying it alone? Who's the standout player? I think towards the end of the campaign, Dembele was PSG's standout player. Was the young player of the award, I guess, goes to Desiree Doué. I think that's relatively easily settled. But as a senior player, it is to me. Who is it? As I said, it is Donnarumma. Is it Dembele? Who else gets into Vitinha? But Vitinha is not that important. I don't know. Let's settle it at Van Dijk then. Nah, Yuvraj. You play in a easy league, so not granted. So this is score more was this season Ekitike or Sheshko. Depends on how they settle in their respective teams and how many minutes they get. Now, if Ekitike gets Alexander Isak as well, then maybe he doesn't get that much time. Sheshko, Man United is also difficult to say. Will it be another Rasmus Højlund or will he actually settle down? So therefore, if you ask me, I think Ekitike would score more goals. But I could be totally wrong. Virginia, Paris, PSG, Ballon d'Or. Yeah, that's my Roshan. I thought, right? He also won the Nations League with Portugal. Maybe. I'm struggling for names, actually, to be very honest with you. Messi did get Ballon d'Or for carrying teams in the last few years, right? Yeah, but Rishabh, Ronaldo also didn't always deserve it. I think this whole thing, at least Modric got it in between, but Ribery and Lewandowski were mentioned. Kroos could have been there in that mix. Not sure if it has always been sort of the right move to give it to those guys, but difficult, no? Difficult. I find it difficult. Yeah. That's one of those things. So I watched yesterday Inter Kashi versus Bangalore FC highlights where we won at pens. We really need to work on our wings, especially after Edmund left. Different level, right? I mean, you did win that game, and deservingly, Inter Kashi won that game, but it's a challenge. In my opinion, it's a huge challenge. It'll be interesting to see how if the ISL happens, how Inter Kashi adapts itself, and it will be very interesting to see. Interesting to see how they, if the league is happening, how they cope with this whole situation. I think that's going to be an interesting one, and very interesting to see, because I'm for me, it's at the moment very difficult to think just about the football on the field, because there's so much off the field happening that it's just insane. That saw all the wingers almost not available. Let's forget about available. Tell me the wingers who can really make a difference week in, week out. That would be my question to you. Where are the Indian wingers? Right. So therefore, there might be interesting options, but who's going to hold on to which players? How? When? Where? Why? A lot of questions to be asked at the moment, right? So it's tough. It's tough. Yeah. Very tough. I'd say very, very tough at the moment, given those realities. Kumperime, goalkeeper coach of under 23s, Noel Wilson, assistant coach. Roshan, given the experience Noel and Gumpe have, and you've got Naushad as a head coach. Yeah, good combo in that reality. I was hoping for an experienced striker at United who would help Rasmus in the long run. His first season was really good. He was playing better in UEFA Champions League and Premier League. I think his performance suffered with the team. Yeah, but the question is, man, United have been all over the place, and Bono, Sheshko. I don't know. Right? I always jokingly say that United, to me, United are like the East Bengal of the Premier League to me, right? Desperately putting out money and trying to get back to the top. Trying hands on Nauba Mite from Rajasthan United FC, bring back Nikom Mumbai City FC, sells, loans him. Could be options. I think Nikom loan could be a very good option if he's available on the market. Centre back is another person to chat head. Bijoy really gelled up and was amazing. Yeah, but is Bijoy really an ISL level centre back? That's the other question, right? He couldn't convince the Kerala Blasters top management that they should bank on him. So therefore, difficult, very, very difficult. But again, Yuvraj, we'll have to wait and see what can be done. Towards the end, once more, what's the outcome of the AIFF, FSDL and ISL clubs meet? For me, the outcome is that things are complicated. The outcome for me is there is no. So let me see where it goes. Right? For me, today is not a good day, because this conversation should have been had a while back, and discussed how to take it forward. That's going to be the challenge. Next is going to be a hell of a ride for me supporting United and national team. Very hard. Yuvraj says Bijoy left Karwasasi, won a trophy. You can see that as that, but he's also gone down a league, right? Because he couldn't establish himself at the Blasters. The Blasters were looking for a centre back. They were putting a lot of hope in him, but Bijoy didn't gain the trust, and they trusted Homi Palm and others ahead of him. Exactly. He's going to say New Jersey colors seem to Rochester United. Yeah, you feel that's funny, but whatever. I think I'm on a day like this. I'm not in a mood for sarcasm or something like that, but I feel was this the death knell of the ISL today. I have a bad feeling. Um, you know, um, you know, don't have a good feeling today. And with the Lotus asking East Bengal fan if he wants to explain or Mohbad fan, I will not explain it here publicly. Um, yeah, it's difficult. The hope is that something happens again, that something good happens. But at the moment, as things are, they're tough, they're complex, they're complicated, and the wish is that things get better. Once more, the reminder: like, share, and subscribe, guys. We need to push this channel. I need your support so that we can have more honest conversations. And yeah, this meeting day wasn't a good day, and I don't have good vibes. I think you know, a heavy heart today with this whole thing. So maybe, hopefully, I'm wrong, but yeah, and yeah, this is something which is there, right? Pepper left Canvas has seen one trophy. Yeah, what was animation? That's it. Another, what's the go forward for us looking at the current situation area of hope, expecting genuine answer from you, Sanjay, you're the boss. What should or would you do now in current scenario? If you ask me, ask them for an intervention because I don't see the AIFF wanting to go to the Supreme Court, right? That's the reality. So sports bill passing could be a bit compensating, but again, looks so tough. The sports bill has its own issues, Yuvraj, and that passing, does it help? Does it not help? I don't know. You know, I still can't get over that, how that crybaby fooled United into buying him back with those rumors of City United needing a center defensive midfielder that season. I remember. Yeah. And yes, it's actually affected all the tension away from him with that shitty interview. That's football. Any update on your practice match? Did it even happen? No news on that. Oh no, I didn't hear anything. Actually, I didn't even see anything. Right? Supposedly it was, yeah. Suppose they played FC Goa yesterday, but maybe it was a closed door match and nobody wants to speak about it. It's, yeah. What if the regime of AIFF changes? FSDL and new AIFF sits and gets answered by December. Okay, to dream. No, how can they sit in September? When's the bill passing? October, November? No, if it doesn't happen, it didn't happen today, so it won't go to Rajya Sabha. So, and I don't see the Supreme Court sitting before the sports bill is passed. I think that there's, again, we don't know what the interlink, if there is an interlink. Again, I have to always say that. So therefore, no, ISL by Jan is the earliest I see, but I don't see. You know. Yeah, Raj, I have a bad feeling today. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Sometimes the vibe I'm getting, I'm not feeling that this meeting went in the right direction, and that's my concern. Starting listing young club bio, didn't know he had offers from Man United, Man City during Dortmund time. Yeah, he did. This is the worst of any football we've seen, yes, by far. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, but this is by far, Rishabh. We are close to collapse, and nobody, and I think a lot of people are realizing it. And if you realize some of the reactions of the club owners, CEOs, general managers, the things are bad. Some foreign leagues do start in Jan too. Yeah, but Yuvraj, those are those calendar year leagues which run from Jan to December and not from July to June window. So yeah, that's something else. Club is the special one. You're judged when you leave, not when you come. Yeah. let's see. He's got a tough task at Leipzig, at Salzburg, and all the other clubs that Red Bull now own. I'm also worried about Indian football despite of today's press meet, but could be the German in me too. No, Roshan, this press meet was bad, and nobody was speaking about what they spoke about what they wanted to speak about. They didn't speak about, listen, these are the realities, these are the problems. Is there any chance of another FIFA ban? If yes, what will happen after that? Arnab, yes. I think if the ISL clubs now went to FIFA and said this is the situation, the Supreme Court of India has stopped the league, third party interference, FIFA could step in. And my advice to FIFA would be create a normalization committee. Don't let the AIFF get out of it and try to create a new body and whatever, blah, blah. The system needs a massive cleanup. There's a lot of people in and around the system who need to be taken to FIFA ethics and be banned for life. That's the only way we can clean up the system to some extent. But is it going to happen? I don't know. Because FIFA's not bothered about us. FIFA and AFC have given up on us. This is the worst thing that should have happened. These are all realities. I don't like it. And yeah, the inevitable is happening. Hope it doesn't. You're getting backwards now at the speed of light. Yeah, yeah. But even with FIFA, yes, of course, Rushabh, the league has been stopped. No, that's third-party interference. You know, the ban. Yeah, other ban could be normalization committee with a ban. And Kumar, hi, welcome back. Kalyan Chaub is only for photo ops, and Kalyan Chaub said we have the plan and that plan now. Yeah, there is no plan. You know that, Kumar, you know that, and I know that there is no plan at the moment. There is just wishful thinking and hope that something or the other happens, and that's not happening. That is the reality. And therefore, I'm not feeling good. You know, and yeah, it will be interesting to see. So, say FIFA bans and belts AFF, can we expect ISL happening, spectrum what's as Supreme Court blabbers? Yuvraj, there will have to be talks, negotiations, others, so therefore, not sure what. There are internal, external forces, and that is always a danger. Who's going to come for Super? Just play 3 games if there's no commerce of league after. Exactly. That's why this whole Super Cup conversation is a waste of time. Very well understood, Babalus. Very well understood. It's just blah, 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 blah. I've said it. We will try, and we'll try in this window. It's not happening. Among local coaches here, there is this fuss about FIFA giving AIFF 60 crores years ago. Is it true? No. They've never given the AIFF 60 crores. Karan Chobe can't get broadcasting for I-League, and people here expect him to orchestrate a top tier. Yuvraj, welcome to the world of the blind, blind, don't hear, don't listen, don't see, whatever. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. I'm very, 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 very worried after today, because this was the chance of the ISL clubs to speak, right, to the president of the ISL and put some things in. But I don't know if there's a surprise element in all of this. But if it's going to go like this, it's not working. It's not happening, at least for me. That is my concern. It was concern. It is a concern. It is, and the concern seems to be growing by the day for me. And it's very worrying. But today wasn't a good day, and we got to know things maybe which we didn't want to know. But let's see where it goes. I'll come to an end today, tonight. Tomorrow is another day, and hopefully, things happen. ISL clubs must march to FIFA now. Delay is deadly. Yeah, they've been sleeping also a long time, right? So therefore, hope things change. Wish you all the best. Like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word, and yeah, let's keep on fighting for India.